Hi everyone, I'm Utkarsh and this is the Gibson Firebird VII. So the thing with this guitar, in my opinion, it probably is, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree, the Firebird VII is the world's most beautiful guitar. I'm a little biased. I particularly like this color, which is called Candy Apple Red. It's used on a number of Fenders as well. It's a vintage color in 1950s and 60s. Guitar manufacturers like Fender and Gibson were they caught on to the trend of using car colors, all the new cars, all the metallic paints that were coming out, and Candy Apple Red was one of those colors along with a few others, which I'm sure most of you know about. So personally, I'm very excited about getting this guitar. I've always wanted a Firebird. In fact, the Firebird was the first guitar I wanted to get. When I first went to buy my Epiphone Les Paul, they had an Epiphone Firebird, but that was way outside my budget. And it was in red, and ever since then I just thought that no guitar could look better. And at that time, because everything else had 2 pickups, this had 3 pickups and a tremolo, versus the Les Paul and even the Explorer, which just had 2 pickups. I thought, oh, more is better. Of course, in due time, I figured out more does not need to be better, but I will go through what the 3 pickups on this guitar do. Yeah, super excited to have this. I actually found this in the shop. I've been looking for a red Firebird VII all this while. Never found one that I wanted. Never saw one in real life actually till I saw this a few weeks back. And what I'll do is I'll run you through some of the sounds as well as some of my experiences in playing this guitar. A lot of squeaky sounds from the chair, but ignore that. So, what is it that makes the Gibson Firebird special, and especially the Firebird VII, and what makes it different from other Gibsons? The first thing to note, of course, is the neck-through body. The neck and the body is one piece, and you've got 2 wings that we all know. Hypothetically, it's supposed to add a lot more sustain. I think it does. I mean, this guitar is pretty good sustain. I compared it versus my PRS McCarthy 594, which is the king of sustain. This guitar is not there, but it sustains at least as much as the Les Paul. Let's check it out. Speaking of the Les Paul, the thing I was very delighted with when it came to this guitar was the sound that I could get a Les Paul neck tone out of it. Now, one of the reasons why I hadn't bought a Firebird VII all this while was I was a bit skeptical of Mini-humbuckers. I didn't know what they were going to do. I didn't know whether they were going to sound too single coily for my taste. What I've actually found in this guitar is that the Mini-humbuckers actually help to get the sounds that I want. So for me, there are a few sounds that are very important to me. There is the Les Paul neck pickup sound. I need that sound on almost all my guitars, which is why most of my guitars are Gibsons, which get close to that sound. And even the McCarthy 594. This guitar gives me that sound. So this has that sweetness. And the best part is that if you roll the tone off, this pretty much does a very good impression of, the famous Clapton woman tone. Of course, Clapton did play a Firebird in Cream. I don't think it was a 7 though. But it gets close enough. So I was afraid that this guitar's neck pickup was going to be way too bright, and I was never going to get that nice warm woman tone, that Clapton, Gary Moore thingy. But you get it. And talking about Gary Moore, actually let's put a bit of EP boost in that. As much as my playing is not an approximation, and I'm sure the bends are way off, I think it does give you a good flavor of the tone. So that's the neck pickup. Then came to the biggest surprise of the guitar, so the middle pickup. Now I believe when you put this in the middle position, these two pickups are put out of phase to create that famous out of phase sound, Peter Green sound. But for me, that has a much more practical purpose. One of the things that I look for that the Les Paul doesn't have is a single coil sound, which you do need sometimes. I will admit that when it comes to chords, especially when you're strumming, single chord sound better than humbuckers in my opinion, especially when you want to just do basic strumming. And coil splits are okay, but what's amazing about this guitar is that because you get that thinner, almost single coil sound, that provides a character of its own, and yet it does the job of doing the single coil parts really well. So just to compare the neck pickup and then compare that with the middle position, which is the pickups out of phase, you can see how it turns from humbucker to almost single coil. Bit of EP boost always does wonders. So yeah, it's not exactly a single coil sound, but it's close enough. And for me, it works because I always that's the sound I miss whenever I play any of my Gibsons. I don't have any Gibsons with coil splits because all my Gibsons are a bit traditional. Anyways, so that's the middle pickup, and then I come to the neck pickup. Now, a lot of people on the internet and forums say that the bridge pickup. The bridge pickup on the Firebird is a bit unusable. They say it's a bit too bright, it's a bit too jarring. I don't know whether it's my guitar or whether it's others, but it isn't. It's actually quite nice. The other thing with it is it does have again, some say that it has too much bite. It does have bite, more bite than a typical humbucker, but I think that serves to the purpose that I look for, which is because when I play high gain, some humbuckers do get a bit too muddy, and especially as you increase the amounts of gain, as you play a lot of metal, it can get very, very muddy, especially if you down tune a little bit. But with this guitar, it's because the neck pickup is a bit more bright than the bridge pickup is a bit more bright than what you would typically get in a normal humbucker guitar. It works very well. It gives you note definition when you play high gain. I particularly love playing drop D on this because it really gives it a lot of weight, and it gives you you can still hear the note definition when you mute the strings even in high gain, which it doesn't happen with the Les Paul. So let's just to illustrate, we can just go down. Alright, so we are in drop D. Let's put in my Mesa throttle box for a bit of. There you go. Okay, I don't think we need too much delay. I you don't hear those individual notes. You don't hear those individual notes when you do that sort of stuff on a typical Les Paul. You can't hear it. It's thick, but you can't hear the definition. With this case, it is thick because it's still a humbucker, but you still have the definition. So, ironically, the reason that I thought the Firebird wouldn't suit my style of music, because I do like playing metal, and the reason why I didn't buy some for all these years, because of the mini humbuckers. I would argue the mini humbuckers actually do play metal, and I probably will do a different video at some time where I compare mini humbuckers versus probably traditional humbuckers, as well as the more higher output humbuckers when it comes to playing metal. So yeah, so that's pretty good. I think I like the pickups, the body we talked about, the sustain, the looks obviously are what they are. So far it seems like the Firebird is a world of good, but are there any disadvantages? Yes, there are. The biggest disadvantage with this guitar, and I still don't know how to solve it, and I know it's a problem, and I knew it was a problem getting into it, is the tuning. This guitar, relative to all other guitars I have, struggles to hold its tuning. You probably have heard it already go slightly off tune. It's become much better. To be fair, I did change the strings, and so of course, but I did stretch them, so I didn't expect it to still remain off tune. My suspicion is a couple of things on this particular guitar. I realized what a flawed mechanical design this Lyre or Maestro vibrato, whatever it's called, because on the Bixby or any other vibrato or any other tremolo, when you press the tremolo, it basically uses springs, and it uses springs to kind of adjust the shape. With this guitar, what you're doing is, and I just noticed this, you're depressing the metal when you press it. So you're literally deforming the metal and then bringing it back, and metal will not always go back to its correct place. So intrinsically, the design of this guitar's vibrato is flawed, which is why I barely use it. But even without the vibrato problem, it doesn't hold tune even if you don't use the vibrato. So that's a bit of a problem. I tried lubricating with the nut with graphite and all that. Probably will need a bit more work. I read somewhere that you can replace this Tune-o-matic bridge with like roller bridge. I don't know whether that will work, but yeah. So I'll probably keep trying to figure that piece out. I mean, it still can hold tune, but you will end up, if you're gigging, you will end up checking after every song. It's gonna happen. Which, okay, you can call it character. I mean, that wouldn't stop me from gigging with this guitar. I just want to gig with the way this guitar looks. But I mean, if I'm being objective about it, that is a big disadvantage. What else? Then the mini tuners, many people have complained. So not the mini tuners, but the banjo tuners. Many people have complained that it has a very low ratio or something, that you do lots of turns. Honestly, I don't notice that at all. No problem there. It's just like any other tuner. It's at the back. I love it being at the back. It gives the guitar such a unique look. Other things to note. One thing you would know, if you're used to playing a Les Paul, your neck probably starts around here, and so probably the headstock ends here, versus here it's here. So this is because the whole thing is exaggerated. So you will tend to reach out more versus the other guitars. Not a problem. You get used to it really fast. I've been playing this guitar for a few days now. This feels like home, and it doesn't stop me. So yeah, net, lovely guitar, lovely looking guitar. I could not ask for more. I love the sound. Wish it stayed in tune better, but it's a small price to pay for everything else that this guitar offers. Alright, till next time.